This is a video on English 2, a new Radiant Reader for class 7. We are discussing the question answers of chapter 9, that is a chapter of accidents. Let us see what is the first question here. Which three separate remarks of Jack show that he was not aware that he was stealing? So there are three separate remarks of Jack that show that he was not aware that he was stealing was firstly when the owner of apple tree asks him to ask him what he is doing. He without any hesitation replies that he's eating apples and if he want he could drop down a few for him as well. Secondly, when the farmer urges that those apples belong to him, he argues that everything around us, be it apple or any other food, is a common property. Thirdly, when the farmer, he seems not to be very interested in arguing with him, Jack exclaims that what kind of world is this where people are not ready to listen to the arguments? This is the first question here. Second, we have Jack didn't like much the appearance of things. Why? Now, Jack didn't like much of appearance of things because he believed that earth and its goods are the common property. But the farmer he continued to claim on the apple tree and warned him to come down or face the consequences, once he comes down. So that this is what made him, he didn't like the things as it was turning because he got an impression that he will be probably punished for not coming down and staying there. So he was not liking the things as it was, turning it into. Third, we have why does Jack exclaim, "What a world is this?" Now, during the conversation between Jack and the farmer, we see that Jack believed that anything in this world is a common property. Thus, on seeing the apple tree, he got, tempted and he climbed the tree, but that didn't go down well with the owner of that tree. And he constantly warned Jack to come down or bear the consequences. Now, referring to this conversation, we see in the chapter that how he was continuously telling us that every fruit, everything that we see around us is a common property, and everybody has a share in it. And when the farmer was not, ready to agree to that point, he exclaims that what a world it is where people doesn't listen to the arguments. Next question is, what made Jack forget his philosophy? So when was that Jack actually forgot that everything belong to everyone? It is probably when he actually discovers that he is in danger and he's probably getting into some trouble. So the owner of the orchard, we know that he was not interested in arguing as he had to go for some work. So he left back his dog, that is Caesar, to keep a check on Jack so that he doesn't escape till he returns from work. Now, Caesar was a large bulldog who crouched down on the grass with his eyes head up and eyes glaring at Jack and showing his range of teeth as if to show him that this is my teeth are so sharp and I'll probably bite you once you come down. So this actually scared Jack and made him forget all his philosophy. And this was the time where he realized that staying back on the apple tree was no more safe for him. And if he was caught by the dog, he will probably, break all his limbs together. Next question is, what made him ruminate? Now, in the story, as we have also discussed in the class, the word ruminate is actually, it's telling us two different meanings here. So the first meaning of ruminate is that continuously chewing something. So we know that this Jack was on the apple tree, and since it was his dinner time, so he was continuously chewing the apples. And ruminate also means giving a deep thought or thinking over things that he has already done. So what made him ruminate, can we can have two different answers according to the story here. So the owner of the orchard had left behind his dog to keep an eye on Jack in case he tries to escape. But Jack wanted to leave the orchard, but he could see that the dog Caesar was pretending to be fallen asleep. And finding out about dog, Jack decided to stay back like a prudent, like a mature man, and was continuing to eat apples and thinking of ways to escape from this situation. So this is the portion that I've taken from your story, and it clearly says that this dog was trying or pretending to be clever. He had half shut his eye, and he was pretending as if he has fallen asleep, and he was waiting for Jack to come down and where he can actually bite him or break his limbs. But Jack found that that one of the eye was partially opened, and he could find out, he could ascertain the danger that will probably be there once he comes down. So he decided to stay back on the tree, like a mature man, like a patient man. He decided to stay back on the tree, and he was continuously chewing the apples meanwhile, and he was also looking for ways how he could escape from the situation. So that is what made him actually ruminate, maybe continuously chew, or thinking ways to come out of the danger. Last question from this chapter is, describe the warfare between the dog and the bull. So we know that during the end of the passage here, we come to see that the bull had arrived at the orchard. It was basically a passerby bull here. So when the bull arrived at the orchard, he Caesar got up on his legs and faced the bull because he wanted to show to his master that he is such a faithful dog, and he looks after his things, be it a boy or be it any other animal. So he advanced, pawing with his tail up in the air, and within a few yards Bull rushed at the dog, and in reply the dog chased and attacked him. Thus the warfare continued between Bull and the dog, and both the animals were fighting until they moved at a distant place from the apple tree. So while fighting, they had actually moved to a distant place, and we also know that ultimately the warfare was won by the bull, that we'll read in the next part of the chapter. So this is all we have from this chapter today. Thank you.